tense situation with another world power, and he decided to make up.
It's like our country's being run by the maniac from Saw. You know, Donald Jigsaw Trump is running this. And of course, the big question, one of the big questions besides, are you out of your damn mind, is if you pull all the Palestinians out of Palestine, who would then...
Here we go again. Trump has thrown himself into yet another political firestorm, and this time, it's a full-blown comedy smackdown. The burning question on everyone's mind, aside from how is this real life, is if you remove all Palestinians from Palestine, who exactly is supposed to live there? Enter Dr. Phil and Jimmy Kimmel, the unlikeliest yet most effective duo in delivering a brutal takedown of Trump's latest fiasco. Dr. Phil stormed in like a therapist on an emergency call, diagnosing delusion faster than you can say alternative facts.
Donald Trump, what do you think of him? What would your diagnosis be of him?
Well, I project into the future, and I wonder sometimes just exactly how diplomacy would play out with him.
I'm not hysterical. I laugh when people say, oh, you've got Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
I think if you're a reasonable person, you should have Trump derangement syndrome. Right. And by the way, I think he has derangement syndrome about us, too. The fact of the matter is, this is a dangerous person. This is a stupid person. And that's a bad combination. And I think what we're forgetting, I keep forgetting it, and I have to keep reminding myself, is he's not just running for president. He's running...
While Kimmel did what he does best, turning Trump's latest disaster into pure late-night gold. If you've ever wondered what happens when a talk show psychologist and a comedian dismantle a former president like a reality show gone horribly wrong, buckle up, because this is a masterclass in public ridicule.
When you were younger, you were an aimless loser.
Weak and incompetent.
You're saying, I'm a liar. I've lied in court?
Yeah.
Are you delusional?
But what does Dr. Phil really think about Trump? Well, let's just say he's not sugarcoating a thing. People should have Trump derangement syndrome, he said. Because let's face it.
Tour on the campaign tour with Donald Trump, I can assume?
Well, he hasn't asked me.
Is there a medical term for what it seems like he is experiencing right now?
Well, I think he's a little upset.
Trump has derangement syndrome about us too, and that was just the warm-up. Dr. Phil took it further, calling Trump both reckless and intellectually lacking. An explosive cocktail for anyone, let alone a world leader. People forget, he's not just running for president, Dr. Phil added. He's running to stay out ouch. Before we go any deeper, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you don't want to miss this takedown.
But I would say we can probably all agree that he lacks. When you were younger, you were an aimless loser.
Weak and incompetent.
You're saying, I'm a liar. I've lied in court?
Yeah.
Are you delusional?
Dr. Phil, a man who can diagnose an entire personality disorder with a single sigh, versus Trump, a man who treats financial ruin like a side hustle. This matchup is the stuff of legend. Dr. Phil doesn't just call people out. He breaks down their psychology with the precision of a surgeon dissecting a particularly stubborn tumor. And when he turns that laser focus on Trump, the results are as devastating as they are hilarious. Why do you think he's always wearing that hat? Dr. Phil asks an audience member. To make America great again, they answer. Well, that. Or he's trying to hide the world's priciest roadkill. Cue the laughter. But beyond the comedy, Dr. Phil would take a more analytical approach, cutting straight to the root of the issue. Donald, he might say, every time something doesn't go your way, you say it's rigged. But let's think. If everything is rigged, when do you take responsibility for anything? And just like that, somewhere in Mar-a-Lago, a golf club is hurled into the ocean. Then there's Kimmel. If Dr. Phil is the psychologist carefully pulling apart Trump's delusions, Kimmel is the guy in the back, laughing uncontrollably at every misstep.
Question, Donald Trump, let's indulge the thought that you are going to run for the presidency of the United States in the year 2016. What's the slogan going to be?
I think my slogan would be, Make America Great Again.
That's too long. Come on with something pithier.
No, make America great again. You're talking about 4 words. I think it's a very precise slogan. I mean, that would probably be my slogan, make America great again. Tremendous potential in this country, but we're not using it. We don't have the leadership.
Country is going to boom, just so you know.
Just specifically on the recession.
Yeah.
Do you
I
think
this
there will be a
country-
recession?
I don't see it at all. I think this country is going to boom. But as I said, I can do it the easy way or the hard way. The hard way to do it is exactly what I'm doing, but the results are going to be 20 times greater.
Mr. President,
And remember, Trump is always right.
And what do you say to
If
Americans?
you look at what I've said over the last 10 years, Trump has been right all the time. This is the way to do it. We're going to make America great again.
With an endless supply of Trump's greatest blunders, mangled speeches, geography slip-ups, and good old-fashioned nonsense, Kimmel doesn't even have to try. Trump's own words do the work for him. Here we go. Another day. Another Trump fiasco. And this time, he's walking straight into a comedic firing squad. Kimmel's highlight reel is locked and loaded, packed with moments of Trump fumbling through basic concepts like a student bluffing their way through an oral exam. Cue the footage. Trump, blank-faced, searching his brain for the name of a world leader. Kimmel leans in. You know it's bad when you can see the buffering icon above his head. The audience erupts. The best part? Trump knows he's being ridiculed. He hates it. And yet he can't stop setting himself up for it. Whether it's Dr. Phil clinically breaking down his reality show approach to life or Kimmel landing another late-night knockout, one thing is undeniable. Trump may be running for office, but comedy is sprinting laps around him. Predictably, Trump fires back with the social media equivalent of a toddler's tantrum, an all-caps typo-laden rant where he somehow manages to misspell both Dr. Phil and Jimmy Kimmel's names. He calls Dr. Phil a failed quack, and Kimmel a terrible has-been, instantly gifting late-night TV another week of premium content. And speaking of spectacles, Trump's recent speech before Congress was a grand exercise in self-congratulation, because, you know, the man just doesn't get enough screen time. Every Trump speech feels less like a political address and more like a national group therapy session where America collectively sighs, checks the liquor cabinet, and prepares for impact. Call it a joint session, an edible session, or a what pairs well with NyQuil session. It's always an experience. Enter Dr. Phil, America's unofficial life coach, the man whose entire job is to tell people their decisions are ruining their lives. He's counseled delusional superfans who think they're married to celebrities, people convinced they were abducted by aliens, and serial cheaters with Olympic-level excuses. But even he had to pause before attempting to untangle Trump's warped worldview. Trying to psychoanalyze Trump is like trying to explain quantum physics to a brick wall. Pure chaos, no logic, and by the time you're done, everything's somehow worse. It's this perfect mix of psychological analysis and razor-sharp comedy that makes it impossible for even Trump's most devoted fans to ignore. His biggest problem isn't just that he has critics, it's that his critics have airtight, irrefutable points. Dr. Phil breaks down his behavior like an expert witness in a high-profile trial, while Kimmel delivers punchlines so on target they make denial impossible. Trump can scream fake news all day long, but when America's go-to TV therapist and one of its sharpest late-night comedians set their sights on him, the fallout is brutal. There's something poetic about two men who've built careers analyzing dysfunctional behavior, turning their attention to the ultimate case study. At their core, therapy and comedy have the same goal: to expose the truth. And in this case, Trump is getting a full-scale Dr. Phil intervention, with Kimmel's punchlines hammering at home.